So let's start. You've already been quoted as saying that this pandemic is an opportunity for all of us to take a deep dive into ourselves. And I love because that was echoed at our previous webinar last week with Her Highness Sheikh Abudur Al-Qasimi, who said that it is also an opportunity for all of us to look within. So what would you, in general, advise your audience in the Middle East? How shall we weather this storm?
You know, I think, as I mentioned in the blog that I wrote at Thrive Global, this is an opportunity to go deeper, is that, you know, up until now, most of our lives have been very much about the outer movement of life, achieving, doing, you know, we are always in the next thing and the next thing. And there is not a lot of time for self-reflection, you know, and really kind of pausing, because this is the Western culture and the Eastern culture has really, there's a drive that just drives us all the time to achieve, to accomplish, to become something. And now with this epidemic and this incredible crisis, we're all asked to pause. So how do you pause? And how do you stay connected to yourself? If you haven't, up until now, made that a priority or have some kind of a practice to connect with yourself, to find out your own strength, your own resilience, your own joy, your own heart. Because, you know, Tamara, ultimately, if you ask anybody, the most fulfilling things in their lives are the things that fulfill our hearts. Yes, you know, exactly. The things that we connect with each other, we share what we have. And this is something that now we are all asked to do it even more. So wherever there has been a holding back, you know, wherever we've been, oh, this is for me, you know, wherever we become too self-centered and maybe even too self-preoccupied, we're now asked to also give from what we have, support others, listen to others, ask them how they are and really listen. And people are having a hard time, and it's very important to allow ourselves to voice how we feel, to implement little changes every day that, and I can tell you what I am doing every day, things that really you have to maintain in a centered place, and you have to feel rested, you have to walk, you have to eat well, you have to exercise, body, mind, spirit, and you have to pray. And what I mean by prayer, and you know, I'm writing this book on prayer, which is the soul of prayer, is that each one of us is connected to a divine source, to God, to, as my mother used to say, know yourself and know something larger than yourself. That larger than yourself is what is going to pull us out of this right now. Because if you, in our own limited ways, Tamara, we cannot see solutions, but as Einstein said, you know, when you use your intuition, it doesn't come from the intellect, it comes from that soulfulness. And when we tap into our soul, which is always there, and we are asked right now to connect to that part that we might have not connected up until now. And that takes a moment to just pause. And even right now, as I'm talking to you, just connect with your own breath. Even if your own breath, as my yoga teacher says, is a miracle of life, because we are being breathed ourselves right now. We are being given this energy of life. So coming to the surrender of that, and knowing that at this very moment we are well, we are alive, and our own divine self, our own soul, our own spiritual essence can start to connect with us to give us solutions. But we have to go beyond our own limitations of our own self. Does that make sense?